Hello, my friends. Wayne G. the Gurmanator. Oh, I don't know. Did we start? Hello, my friends. Wayne G. the Gurmanator. What's up, Chico? Hope everyone is doing well today. Best in show. It's backwards. Best in show. If you know, you know. So this is the third podcast, and I thank you for watching the first two, and I hope you enjoy this one. The first two, we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of singing, a lot of song, a little wine, a little women, a little song. This one's going to be maybe a little more serious about Preston High School. Um, it's been around for, I think, 75 years. It's been in the neighborhood in Throgs Neck. It's on Schurz Avenue. If you don't know, now you know. It's all the way down Schurz Avenue. It's on the water. And we thought it was going to be closed for quite a while. And it got a last minute reprieve from the governor. And we're going to have some people calling in today. Lisa Hessian will be calling in a few minutes. Lisa led the fight to keep Preston alive, and she started a Save Preston Foundation, whatever. She started a Facebook page, and not only Lisa, many people fought for Preston. I know Jerry Giannini was a big fighter for this as well. It's been a while since my son played Little League with your son, but I remember your name, Jerry and Jack, wonderful people. Jerry fought very hard, and a lot of people. George Have will be calling in. George fought as well. Patty Machete, my meeting was canceled. Yay, Patty. Love it. So, I love you, Patty. Best in show. Best in show. And I am the Gurmanator. Now, I call myself the Gurmanator as a self-deprecating type of humor thing. I don't take myself seriously. It's all about who is this jerk that calls himself the Gurmanator, a la Terminator. It's all about making fun of oneself. I'm a strong believer in that. And it's all about clown time. It's all about having fun. We can't take ourselves too seriously. And bada beep, bada boop, bada bing. So here I have in my hand, I'm going to read, before Lisa calls in, I'm going to read about the Preston situation. You ready? Preston High School in Throgs Neck, the Bronx, has been saved from closure thanks to an $8.5 million deal with Bally's Foundation. The foundation purchased the school property from the Sisters of the Divine Compassion. Oh boy, we weren't seeing a lot of compassion, were we? From these sisters. These three sisters, they wanted, I heard, $15 million from a private developer. We weren't seeing a lot of compassion, were we? But the deal got done. Did Letitia James step in here and help out? That's questions I'd like to ask Lisa Hessian and George Have, who are much closer than me to the situation. We shall see. Okay, so they got it back they bought it from the Sisters of the Divine Compassion. They will lease it back to the school for $1 a year for 25 years. Huh. What a win, huh? What a win. And there's still people out there. One guy, his initials are SC. Who is, you made a deal with the devil. Just see, you're going to see, in 26 years, there's going to be condos instead of Preston. Yeah, I get it. There's going to be condos in 26 years. Maybe, and maybe not. You may be right. You may be crazy. Bally's is also committed to a $1 million renovation fund for the school. Sounds pretty good for the school. Here are the key points to the deal. $8.5 million purchase of the school. Bally's Foundation purchased school property from the sisters. The sisters have owned it since 1947. Bally's will lease the property back to Preston for $1 a year. We talk about that. Bally's will provide the $1 million. The agreement was brokered after community members and alumni protested the school planning closure. Well done. Now, I have no skin in the game. I'm a man. I didn't go to Preston, obviously. It's an all-girls high school. Many girls that I've known have gone to Preston High School. My age, their grandmothers, great-grandmothers probably. It's been there 75 years-ish, Preston. So Preston High School has been around for quite a while. And I know many of my friends' kids have gone to Preston. And I saw people fighting so hard for Preston. So I kind of, I didn't do anything. I just talked about it on social media. But I'm glad I filmed the St. Patty's Day parade. That was fun to do. And Preston came out very strong for that in the Throgs Neck parade. This is my matcha tea, by the way. So we're waiting for Lisa to call. And George Have, if you're watching, I'd like you to call after Lisa if that's possible. I know Lisa's supposed to be calling at 10:05. So we got 1 minute for that. What do we have here? We may sing some songs today, Patty. Patty, you going to sing with me? I have the 1971 Billboard Top 100 singles from 1971. Talk about living in the past, baby. This is matcha tea, by the way. I've been on a matcha tea kick. So we're waiting for Lisa to call. So what do we have in 1971? Huh? What's the number one song? Who knows? The number one song from 1971. It's very easy if you think about it. You know I love my lady. Oh, I need Donna and Doreen here. Love to have my fun. I'm a rainbow rider and what's the number two song? This is surprising for me. Maggie May by Rod Stewart. Love it. Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you. It's late September. So getting back to Preston real quick. We'll get back to the songs. I played Little League on Preston's field. Little League baseball at 8 years old. I was on the Yankees at 8 years old. And it brings back, I remember it very well. Crap, you're talking 52 years ago. You're talking 1973, essay. And I remember very well playing at Preston. I may have played there a little bit when I was 9 as well. They used to use that for the school league and maybe some junior minors games. Maybe HDB can help me out on that. And I have great memories of playing at Preston. It was a crappy field. It was full of rocks, right? I guess that's where the girls played softball too. But yeah, and I became a Yankee fan. And I loved the Yankees from that. But then just a little sidebar here. I grew out of favor with the Yankees. Thankfully, you have the lyrics pulled up. No, I don't, Patty. I don't have the lyrics. It's just the songs, Patty. It's just the songs. So we're waiting for Lisa to call. I told Lisa to call at 10:05. It's now 10:06. Hello, Lisa. Da-na-na. If Lisa doesn't call, we'll continue to talk about it anyway. Maybe we'll call George Have ourselves, right? Or maybe we'll call Lisa ourselves. We could do that, right? I'm allowed. By the way, Lisa just called me 10 minutes ago. She says she saw 2 jet skis in Pelham Bay in the country club for sale. Very nice. So I don't have the lyrics, Patty. It's Too Late by Carole King. Remember that song? Too late, baby, now it's too late. So let's finish the Yankee story. The Yankees, I loved the Yankees for like 73, 83, 93, for about 20-something years. I was a big Yankee fan. I loved Thurman Munson. I loved Chris Chambliss, the lefty. Oh, there's Lisa Hessian. There we go.
Lisa Hessian?
Hello, Lisa.
Press 1 to send a voice.
Hello, Lisa Hessian.
Hi, Wayne Gurman. How are you?
I am great. Welcome to the Gurmanator podcast. How you doing today?
Very good. I'm very excited to be invited.
Oh, yes. No, you're the first person I invited because you, my dear, you spearheaded this movement to save Preston. And I got to say, Lisa, what a great job you did. And you guys did it.
It's unbelievable. Actually, I can't take all the credit. I think there were a lot of people who took it on individually and then found that everybody had the same thought process.
Yes.
Especially where the Preston Alumni Leadership Team, a group of 5 women who graduated in the 90s.
Okay.
And what an impressive group they are.
Can you name a few of those people if you know their names?
Yeah, I sure can. Just give me a second.
Okay, no problem.
Just 1 second. Actually, you want to go to the beginning of the story? Or
yes, no. Go ahead.
Questions?
Yes, I do want to ask questions.
I'll give you their names.
Yeah, give me their names.
And
one of the main questions I have is, some people are saying they made a deal with the devil, that in 25 years there's going to be waterfront property. I want to get into your story and all this, and at some point address those issues as well. Please inform my listeners and my viewers what happened with Preston and how did it get saved?
Well, I'm a graduate of PHS class of 1981, and that's about 44 years ago.
Okay.
And my nieces are now currently the class of 2025. So, you know, my skin in the game as a current parent, or not that I'm a parent, but my nieces is not, you know, for the juniors, the sophomores, and the freshmen. However, just because my nieces are graduating didn't mean to me that,
Right.
you know, wrong is wrong. And the way this played out was very wrong.
Oh, yeah. Terrible. Terrible.
And I think one of, you know, I'm not really a good public speaker, but I'm just trying to, I have the facts written down.
Oh, no, please do. Go at your own pace.
Yeah.
Listen, me and you were talking here. I want to know the story behind it. And one thing I want to say is I had no skin in the game either. I'm a man. Of course, I didn't go to Preston, but I saw how much the love the community had for Preston, and it inspired me, and you inspired me. So go ahead, continue.
Well, I guess the first thing that came to my mind was, over my dead body.
There you go.
And I meant it, and I said it from the beginning. There was no rationale, reasonable rationale. One of the statements that had come out when the nuns did the video. I don't know if you remember seeing the video.
Yes,
they did where they stood stoically
I watched
in front of a. It was a, you know, very masterful or unmasterful, in my opinion, you know, with leading questions,
right.
Because that was a defense to our collective effort, because what they did more damage with that video and made people more angry,
right,
than even the initial. Like, they got broader play. It was, you know, it was everywhere. It was on the news. And one of the things that really, really bothered me when Sister Carol Peterson, the lady that was all the way to the right,
yes,
said, "Can't escape time." Now, I don't know. I think you went to St. Francis de Chantal. Did you?
No, I was a public school kid. I was raised Catholic. I made my baptism, my communion, all that stuff. Not my communion and confirmation, but I was raised in public schools. But go ahead.
Well, I was raised at St. Francis de Chantal, which was also run by the Sisters of the Divine Compassion.
Okay.
And, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've heard stories about Sister Stanislaus, Sister Mary Stanislaus.
Yes, I did.
She was like an urban legend.
Yes.
To anyone who knows St. Francis de Chantal.
Yes.
But, you know, for all her grit and all her, she cared about the people.
Right.
She cared about the community. She cared about St. Francis.
Gotcha.
And she was a tough cookie. And I know you know Tommy Greco, and
very well.
You know, they had a fun relationship.
Oh, Tommy is classic.
Very tough.
Tommy Greco.
Very tough.
Yeah.
But she actually, I think, she actually really cared for him, and I think she gave him what she felt he needed, you know, growing up, so that he, you know, could then, you know, be the person she envisioned him to be.
Right.
And I, you know, a lot of the nuns, you know, when I've gone to good counsel, I used to take care of a woman who had MS, and she was very religious, and I had taken her up to good counsel several times. And I actually met my first grade teacher there, Sister Mary Ruth,
right.
who I just did the math, and now she's about 80 something. But I went about 10 years ago with this woman that I used to take care of, and
right.
It was just interesting because when I think about it, she became a nun. I mean, she was very young when she was my first grade teacher. I mean, she had to be in her very early 20s, and she was just a delight. I mean, she could not have been, you know, it was like probably a learning experience for her too, to teach first grade at this Catholic school. But those are the nuns that I remember. I remember, you know,
right,
every one of my nuns at St. Francis de Chantal, Sister Mary Claire, who was the principal, Sister Jane D. Doty. She was the assistant principal who then had become a principal at Preston at one point. But even through Preston, like, there's some teachers that have been there still 30 and 40 years, like Sister Carol Wagner is still there.
Right. So, Lisa, let's get back to the situation. How did they go from, I heard they first rejected the Bally's offer, and who stepped in to make it happen again? How did it come back to that?
Well, yeah, let's just go really quickly.
Okay.
After that announcement came out, it was a Tuesday, and I went down to the school because I just wanted to, you know, take it in. And then Wednesday, Wednesday they were off, and then Thursday there was a huge rally down there because everybody was in shock. The nuns, let me just tell you because I have this written down. So on January 22nd, there was an announcement that the tuition increase notification and incoming freshmen were accepted. On February 25th, there was a closure announcement, and there were immediate rallies at Preston and then at Good Counsel. So aside from the tuition increase, they had already offered and accepted students who gave up other opportunities at other schools because they wanted Preston, because Preston, is really, like, in my opinion, the golden ring of the schools
yes.
in that Bronx area. So the nuns came in, they called an all-hands meeting, and they basically told the staff and the teachers that, they were coming to an end of their journey, and they wanted to sell the property. They didn't want to be the landlords anymore. And, all that is kind of like strange because I've got nuns who are like 90 years old. And I mean, now they're like in their 90s. The Sisters of Divine Compassion went from like 10 years ago in 2015. There were more than 80, and now I think they're down to like maybe in like the high 30s.
Wow. Well, why do you think that is? Why so many less?
I don't really. Well, a lot of them died in the last 10 years.
Oh, okay.
If you go on to the website, you'll see. But in 2015, Good Counsel was sold, and it was sold for like $16 million.
Okay.
And they had other properties that were sold, which, I created a Facebook page. Unbeknownst to me, somebody else was creating a Save Preston Instagram page. Somebody else started a petition.
Right, yeah,
and
okay.
All these factors, came together with the leadership group creating Forever Preston. And it was the community and the alumni and the students and the administration, and no was an acceptable answer.
Lisa, how did the nuns, Lisa? How did the nuns finally change their mind and sell to Bally's?
Well, I honestly believe it was a lot of pressure.
Right.
A lot of pressure from.
It feels that way.
Christy Marmoto was like one of the first that the day of that when the kids were coming back to school, she came down there and stood in solidarity with the principal, and Ms. Fergali, who was the admissions and advancement director. And then I think that then right after that, we all went up to Good Counsel and we protested. We were loud and strong and not oppressed. We were out there banging and holding signs with the bullhorn because, we were taking it back to them. What they did was really, unfortunate. And in the last 2 months, a lot of strife, a lot of people, had to really go on overdrive because the way this all came together. I mean, you can't just put together a campaign to save a school and get all this done. There was strategic messaging. There was reach out to the community. Tommy Melendez, the guy who owns Master Graphics, I mean, he could not have been on his own with making signs, giving them hundreds and hundreds of signs.
What's his last name?
Tommy Melendez of Master Graphics.
Yes, no, I know Tommy well. I didn't know his last name. Tommy Melendez, Master Graphics, Waterbury and Bruckner Boulevard. He's a great guy. I love him. He's been doing things for me for years.
So it was like everybody, and nobody said no. So then, I went around and was bringing signs to every business. I was talking to community groups to get them on board, to get their support.
Okay.
The Marina Del Rey, one of the first, they're right down the block, and then a Stan Sports Bar by Yankee Stadium.
Stan Sports Bar. Lisa, let me slow you down. There's certain things I definitely want to get across here for the audience. Did Letitia James have any part in this being saved?
Oh, she absolutely did.
She did? Okay.
All right. Oh, she absolutely did.
Very good.
So that was the town hall meeting. And, I'm a registered Republican, and, I kind of usually, I'm open to opinions and whatever, but I can tell you that I was never more impressed than I was when I sat there for 3.5 hours and I watched that town hall meeting. I was an observer and a clapper and an audience member.
Right.
And she and her team, the RDC is a 501(c)(3) charitable organization. And, there are certain regulations and rules you have to follow. And it seemed that the nuns, what they did on some level was they had a plan, and their plan was to get to their end point. And so they took it upon themselves to dismiss board members, very, very generous of their time board members who have been loyal to Preston,
right?
And who were the overseeing for the betterment of the school. And I think what the nuns didn't realize was that people would ask why, like the Jerry Hardy Giannini,
right,
who lives in Silver Beach, who is a graduate, whose daughter was a graduate. She was on the board for many years. Her father was one of the one of her father's club presidents, and her sister. She had 4 sisters, and
I know Jerry. Jerry's great. Yeah, I know her. So go ahead.
What happened was the nuns. I mean, this all came out in the town hall meeting. They wanted the board to do what they wanted, and the board didn't want to. There were CPAs on the board. There were judges. And so they kind of, resigned them. They told them, well,
wow,
you're no longer on the board, and they kind of pushed them out. And they were the only, checks and balances on the whole thing, because they were the ones that could say no, and now they had no voice, because then the board was
crazy.
The board was reduced to the 3 sisters that you saw in the video, and a sister from another order who was up in Syracuse, and the cousin of Sister Laura,
right,
who was the president.
So Lisa, let me just butt in. So it felt really kind of sneaky and dirty the way the nuns did this. Why wasn't this put up for local people, maybe to get together and buy the property initially? Everything just felt so under the table and secretive. Talk about that.
Well, what happened was Jennifer Connolly, who's the principal of Preston, had to sign an NDA.
Right.
And she's a lawyer,
yes,
as well as being the principal of Preston. And she is very well aware of what an NDA is. But I guess, that was part of, their, how they ran things. I think a lot of principals possibly may have had to sign NDAs in the past. And so even though she knew possibly where they were going, she really did not have much of a stronghold on how to,
right,
because she was kind of like, strapped. She couldn't the fundraising that the school did with the card parties and other things, which Christina Forgali, who is the advancement and recruitment person, I mean, she did an amazing job, and she had little to work with, but people who believed in the school, even after the announcement came out, these people worked their butts off to, be positive, to, have an amazing card party that raised over like $30,000, which is a big feat,
Lisa, let me ask you this.
If they had, go ahead.
How many students you think transferred out thinking that the school was dead, that it was done? How many freshmen have been lost? Sophomores, juniors? Talk about that. Do you know any numbers on that, or did most people hang tight?
I don't know the numbers, but I can get them. But I really believe that a lot of people held out.
Okay,
I
good.
know St. Catherine's was very generous in telling people that if they registered for St. Catherine's and Preston remained open, that they would reimburse them.
Good job, St. Catherine's. Okay.
Yeah, but other schools did not. I don't think. I'm not Maria Regina, the other one in New Rochelle. But it's interesting because when I went to school, the school was like Jerry Hardy had said, it was a neighborhood school. People marched down from St. Francis de Chantal. It was a big part of the incoming class. But the school has grown, and it has grown in many ways. And one of the things I think that the nuns did and said that was very offensive was the change in demographics. And I think that that may have been another one of their faux pas, because what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, I know.
Demographics. Yeah. You're a teacher and you're a nun, and you should have been. There's change everywhere. Like the one nun said, you can't escape time.
Well, Lisa.
You can't escape.
Yes.
Yes.
Question. The nuns also said registration and was way down. True or false?
False. Absolutely false. false.
It's false.
And that was proven
Yeah.
over and over. And what Jerry Hardy said when she spoke, because she had all the numbers and the information, every time they approached the sisters to ask, what are you talking about? The nuns were going on information from like 2012. And, there were a bunch of reconfigurations. I think they had to add a computer room, so that took away space. I think they had to reconfigure, areas. So the amount of students that were projected in 2012 and the amount of students and the, availabilities were, the numbers were different. So, yeah, of course you're going to come up with different numbers. If you don't have, 10 desks, you can't fill them.
Right, gotcha.
Because there wasn't spots for those 10 people. But it was like a push and shove game. But anyone who was on the board said that they had a plan and they knew what they wanted to do. And it didn't matter how hard the board worked. It didn't matter how hard the administration worked. They had an end game. I mean, they sold the building that was the convent next to Preston. I think it was 2019.
Okay.
That beautiful Spanish-style building.
Yes.
That had been since knocked down and has been rebuilt. Rumors spread that Cardi B bought it for her mother.
I heard that. Yes.
So forth. But so now you have the $1 million from Good Counsel. You have the $1.4 million for that property, and in 2015, I think another mistake was they had a press release that came out and said that the money would take care of the nuns for 30 years, with their needs and their expenses and blah, blah, blah. Well, that would have been 2025. I mean, that would have been 2045, 15, 25, 30. So we're only in, and, what happened? Where's the money?
Yeah. Well, I heard they sold other properties too.
Who's investing their money? Who's investing their money and not making their money?
No, I agree. I heard they sold several properties. What's their plan? To go live in Paradise Island for the rest of their lives? I thought nuns took a vow of poverty.
I mean, we all know. I mean, some of the nuns I believe are in Mother Cabrini. Some of the nuns I think are in Wartburg. And, I mean, I know people who live in assisted living, which is, a step up from, memory care nursing. And, it's expensive, and I get that, and you get that. We have families and parents, and, we had to deal. But I was just very disappointed in them because, other than Sister Laura, I believe the other two sisters, that their connection to Preston was not, as deep. Sister Laura taught there. Sister Laura, was a dean. There are many people who had Sister Laura as their dean and their teacher, and then took jobs on Preston and worked side by side. There was definitely something more, and I think that Letitia James and Amanda Farias, who's a councilwoman, District 18, she was an alum, and she was very passionate about this. She wasn't letting it go either. There was a lot of people that weren't letting it go. And we had a reunion, and it was supposed to be just for certain classes a couple of weeks ago. I think it was April 12th. And I was floored. I was absolutely floored. It was like people came from everywhere. It was just, all ages, all sizes, all nationalities. It was like the women of Preston, they had come to reclaim what was theirs. And there's a banner hanging in the school that says, Preston Panthers, this is our home. And I think we all felt that. We all felt like, sure, but, we spent 4 years of our lives here, and we made lifelong friendships, and, we were instilled. And the funniest thing is that what we were taught by the RDC, we used those skills, and we used our really, it was such a moving, I think everybody felt it. I run the Facebook page, Save Preston High School 2025, the Maroon and White Forever, and I'm just going to get ready to change the page. We saved Preston High School.
Right.
But everyone who comments, I have over 1,600 followers, and I got the first 1,000 within the first week.
Yeah.
That's not an easy feat.
Tell us about the feeling when the deal got done and you heard that it was finally done. Did you know that deal was pending, that it was going to happen, or you were surprised?
I got a text the night before that said good news coming. But I guess nobody wanted to, really let the cat out of the
Yeah,
bag.
you don't want to
until
jinx. You don't want to jinx good news.
everything was done.
Yes.
And I was actually out in New Jersey because I was there for Easter, and all of a sudden there was like a 3 o'clock on the porch at the mansion. So I just told my friend I had to go.
Wow.
And jumped in the car and
Boy.
drove from New Jersey to the porch at Preston High School, and my gas was like, I had two miles left in the gas.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to stop because I just knew, that it was going to be. So, I took my chances and I got there.
Do you have any celebrations planned with anyone, with the school, or the students, anything?
Well, actually, that day people were coming, and they were coming
okay.
with bottles, and they were coming with brownies. March.
Wonderful.
McAvoy came. She's an associate. It's funny. We had a really good rapport with the Attorney General's office, but I have to tell you, I believe I was impressed with our showing. I mean, we had over 500 people in that auditorium, and every one of them, it was unbelievable. And she asked the tough questions, and her people asked the tough questions. But they were floored. I mean, the girls, especially some of the alumni that got up there, and the parents and the teachers, some of the parents and the alumni, who's from Columbia, who's got 5 degrees, lawyers and doctors and educators.
Well, let me just.
They were challenging.
Wait, who were they challenging at this meeting?
The Attorney General's office.
No. Were the nuns in front of the Attorney General?
No, the nuns were invited. The nuns did refuse to come.
So who was challenging? Was the lawyers for the nuns there?
No. The people who were challenging them were the alumni. They were like, I went to Columbia. You went to Columbia. It was. I don't know if you watched it online, but it was really.
I did not. Well, let me just say something.
And the other thing too, Wayne. The other thing too is it really shows these girls that when people come forward or a community comes forward and you see something that's wrong and you speak up, it was an amazing civics lesson.
Let me just say something, Lisa. Hold on a minute. So Letitia James, as we know, and we're Republicans, the hate she has had for Donald Trump is enough to make you want to projectile vomit. The way she's gone out of her way to spew hate and venom and indict this man over nonsense and drag him through the mud because of politics, I must say, I am happy to hear how hard she fought for Preston, and she was a big piece of the puzzle into getting this done. I'm actually surprised, and I'll say a little apology because I didn't think she did help us in Throg's Neck at all, and it turns out she did. So,
Wayne, I went up after
amazing.
The meeting, and I walked up on the stage, and I shook her hand, and I took a picture with her, and I looked her in the eye, and I told her that I was beyond extremely impressed with her, and all I knew about her was what we know from what we watch and we see and we hear. But sometimes you really have to open your eyes and your ears. And I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. These are 2 different subjects. But I will say that she gave us a very fair shake.
Yeah.
And and I think she looked at these students in this school and she said, how can this school close? Look at the product that they put out.
Yeah,
women who are going to be the future leaders of this world.
I give her credit, Letitia James. Lisa, we're going to wrap it up in a minute. Anything you want to say in parting about the whole process and everything that was done and the victory? Talk about it.
Well, I know I tend to ramble, but I have to say that I could not be more proud 44 years later to be a Preston Panther. And I think a few things that I have said in the past where we all bleed maroon because Preston runs in all of our blood.
Right.
And there's many generations. My friend graduated with me in 81. Her mother graduated in 55, 70 years ago, and she stood with us neck to neck out in front of Preston.
Nice.
Mrs. O'Keefe. And I'm so proud of the alumni that came to be. And I will tell you one thing. There was one girl in the very beginning. Her name is Laura Kenny. And she's in Germany right now studying abroad. What bravery this girl had. After that announcement, she had her mother come with her and she drove up to Good Counsel and she wanted to talk to the nuns. And at first she was shunned away.
Right.
And then I believe Mr. Becker let her come in and spent an hour with her talking to her. And Lauren came away from that and wrote a 6-page letter that to all of us. And we posted it, and I will send that to you so you can read it.
Well, tell the audience, what was the gist of the letter? What did she say basically in the letter, real quick?
The letter was that, she just wasn't buying it. She
Okay.
wasn't buying what she was being told.
Gotcha.
And
okay, very good.
She put more fire under the cause, and, there were so many different people that, have their own little private stories, but I'm proud of this neighborhood. I'm proud of these women. I'm proud of that administration, that principal. I'm proud of all those politicians. And I'm proud of you for, shedding light on it. We had Janice Dean do a podcast with me, Jerry Hardy, and Dana Fiore, who had 3 different perspectives.
Oh, okay.
And Janice Dean was very much, taken by our, how determined we were.
Right.
I mean, she was the first one who reached out to us after the announcement and reposted that we did it. She may even come down and do a news
nice, love it.
At Preston. I'll be sure to invite you if she
comes. Yeah. Listen,
but she proudly put on her Preston hoodie and took pictures. Did you see that, Wayne?
No, I did not see it. No, I don't really watch mainstream news or anything like that. But Lisa, I want to thank you. I have another call coming in. George Hav is going to speak on the thing a little bit. Listen, yes, I will. My dear friend, love you, and what a great job. Thank you, sweetheart. And what a great job. Yes, I agree. But thank you for spearheading it and motivating people as well. You and a bunch of people really took charge here and got this done. And bravo, Lisa Hession.
Thank you, Wayne.
Love you, baby. Have a great day, and well done, young lady.
Thank you.
Take care.
George, I said, okay.
I will tell George you said hello. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, there's Lisa Hession. Love it. So we got a lot of the ins and outs right there. We learned a lot of stuff right there. Lisa was spearheading the charge, her and many people. And I like the way she didn't take credit, because she spoke about many times, many men, how many people were involved in this fight for Preston High School. And what a great job. And I learned Letitia James really did help, right? We can hate her all we want. Yes, we can, because of what she's done with Trump. It's sickening. It's really insanity. But there you go. So I'm going to tell George Hav to call in. Okay. Can you call now, my friend? Okay, very good. And that's it. We're going to talk more. We're getting a little different perspective, maybe from George. Maybe you'll hear a little different version of what happened with Preston. But we're waiting for George to call in. Okay. So what do we got from 1971? We usually sing songs and have fun here, but I felt this was an important show to do. I think this mattered. I know this mattered a lot to the neighborhood, and I think it's a great win for the neighborhood. And I think it makes for an interesting, even though it may not be the fun and laughter that I usually am involved with this show and my walk and talks and whatever I do. I think this was important to do. So 1971, it's too late, baby, now it's too late. All right, George Hav's calling in.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, it's me. I thought about you. Hello, George. How are you, my friend?
How are you, Wayne? It's great to hear your voice.
Yes, great to hear your voice, and thank you for calling into the podcast. George, by any chance, did you hear Lisa Hession in the first half?
No, I actually didn't.
Okay.
Tied up.
Yeah.
Running around today.
I understand totally, buddy. So she talked about, for about a half hour straight, she talked about Preston and this and that and how it went down and what motivated her and all the others to fight. She talked about Letitia James definitely was a factor. Do you agree in that?
100%.
Wow. Is that great, George? We could hate on Letitia James all we want for her Donald Trump hate. I don't agree with that at all, but I got to commend her for doing a good job. George, give us your perspective on that and the entire situation.
I'll say this. I'll do a little play on words.
Okay.
Basically, the AG trumped the nun. That's what she did.
Ah, she trumped the nun. Well done. You are a word master. You're hanging out with Curtis too much.
I mean, maybe vice versa.
Yes, I agree.
But,
yes, indeed.
Anyway, yeah, the thing is this, I'll be perfectly honest. I was skeptical, very skeptical, with the AG involvement.
Yes, me too.
No, I was. I had some skepticism because of the clock, the time.
Right.
You know, not because of any accident or inaction, basically because of the time constraints on the school closure.
Right.
The 24th was the closure, and I understand some letters had gone out on April 3rd explaining some rights that the staff and employees had.
Right.
So, you know, time was of the essence. And, you know, from the beginning, actually going back, I would say actually even going back as far as 6 months ago, I wanted to have someone lead a lawsuit against the RDC.
Right.
To get an injunction to put a temporary stay on any transfer or sale of the property, and using basically a violation of the lease, which seems to be a pretty ironclad lease agreement.
Right. Okay.
As well as what's in the lease was also a right of first refusal of purchase. So if someone wanted to purchase the property, they had the right of first refusal. So there was some nefarious, we'll say, wordings in there. That could have been challenged, as well as some of the NDAs were kind of unreasonable, and they might have been able to be challenged too. So, you know, definitely that would have been an expensive and maybe could have been a little bit more time consuming.
Right.
And the AG took the short route. She went after the nuns' wallets. She said basically, you know, we're going to look into your 501c.
Ah.
And, you know, for those that don't know 501c, it's under the auspice of the Johnson Amendment.
Right. Okay.
It basically says you got to stick to your mission statement. If you say whatever's written in your mission statement, you got to adhere to, because you get a lot of tax benefits.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And if they want to be a right or left, a lot of times it's overlooked. You know, because, you know, you're staying kind of in the lane, but not totally out of the lane. And if somebody wants to play hardball with you with a 501c3, they can really go after you and they can hurt you. So with that in mind, and with all the time that could have taken up and everything else that's involved with that, the nuns probably, the RDC, you know, I don't want to be disrespectful, the RDC probably looked at it, and their lawyers looked at it and said, you know, the path of least resistance here is probably the best way to go.
Right.
And to me, this was probably the best deal that the community could have gotten in the given time allotment that they had.
George, what do you say to this? There are some negative Nancy's out there that we both know personally that say, oh, in 25 years, year 26, there's going to be waterfront condos on the property. You made a deal with the devil. What do you say about that?
Well, there's no deal with the devil, but I would say this in response to the 25 years.
Right.
I think that statement can be made with any waterfront property in the 5 boroughs with the city of Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, to say that it's a very broad spectrum statement, and I don't feel that it is a real genuine statement in looking at this myopically.
Right.
If you want to look at it, you know, down the road, forecast 25 years, you know, God willing, maybe I'm still here. I mean, many of us that are senior citizens.
Yes. No, listen.
25 years.
I hear you.
So, I mean, I look at it this way. My mantra has always been that you have to look at long-term solutions, because the short term includes the long term, right?
Yes.
The long term, and by the long term includes the short term. That's basically how it is. In this case here, you needed to take a short-term fix in order to reach a long-term solution. There was no other way when you did the analytics.
I agree. Yes.
So getting this deal and getting an insanely friendly purchase agreement.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's insane.
Property, they got a very friendly.
Yes, you ain't kidding.
Now, granted, the details, the fine print hasn't come out yet, but let me tell you this. I've been sort of on the inside with some of this, and I can tell you, the school side has some very, very brilliant lawyers on this side. They have white glove lawyers, and these young ladies and some men are very, very impressive. Preston. Let me tell you.
On whose side, George? Who has these?
On the side of the school, not the
Oh,
RDC.
oh, really? Oh, okay, interesting.
They are brilliant.
Nice.
They are brilliant. They didn't come out and expose themselves in the beginning, and they may not expose themselves now, but they have a brilliant team. So anybody that thinks that these are just lay people, going in a room,
yeah,
negotiating,
right, I got you.
No, that's not happening at all. These are professional, esteemed attorneys that are brilliant.
All right, George, I have a question for you, sir. And I think the audience would like to know this. Does Bally's now have the inside track, without a doubt, to put up a casino in Ferry Point Park? Yes or no? And how do you feel about that?
I would say this is basically unrelated when you look at the deal because it has to go through New York State licensing.
Right.
Now, that being said, can an act of philanthropy help?
Yeah.
Could it sway some political minds?
I would say yes.
Could it sway the minds of some people that have been hesitant to take a stance? I would say yes, too.
I agree.
But they're not the ones that make the decision.
Right.
They're not the ones that make the decision. They could possibly influence the decision.
Right.
But Bally's to me, and to a lot of people, they have not been among the favorites in this horse race.
Right.
Stan's just dropped out, but Stan's also was far from a favorite. They were in the back of the pack.
I saw that.
Bally's was in the middle of the pack. Bally's was in the middle of the pack running.
So, George,
I
have a question. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
If Bally's loses their bid to put a casino, let's say a year or two from now, could they pull the rug out from under Preston and say the deal's done midway? Is that something that can be done, or there's no way?
The way I understand it, I haven't seen the contract, but like I said, they have a brilliant law team.
25-year lease.
25-year lease, ironclad lease.
But I heard that the Nuns had 2 more years left with Preston on their lease, and they were looking to sell it from under them.
But also, but that could have been challenged in court.
Right. Yes.
And they would have won.
Okay.
The consensus among some legal people that we consulted was they had a really good case, and they probably would have won it. It would have took expense. We're talking well over $100,000 of expense, and it would have taken time. And by that time, the school might have been closed. The damage would have been done.
Absolutely right. Well, it sounds like a win for everyone here, George. Did you get involved, George? What was your involvement with this Preston?
I was behind the scenes. The credit goes out to all of the alumni group, all of the group Linda Heshing led, the students, the staff, the faculty.
Yes.
I take no credit here at all. I raised awareness and facilitated certain things, generated a lot of interest, and things of that nature. But I cannot take credit for anything.
Now, J-Lo.
These people are amazing.
J-Lo did not. I'm sorry to talk over you, George. I just want to get certain things in. J-Lo did not step in except for something she wrote on social media. Is that correct? There was no.
And that was probably her publicist that wrote that.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it this way, Wayne. Because somebody has money, that doesn't mean they have to give it to you.
I know. I agree with you, George.
And the thing is this. You don't know, and I don't know, what was J-Lo's experience at Preston?
I have no idea.
She didn't have a good experience.
No, you're right.
She didn't have a good experience.
It's possible.
So if somebody didn't have that good experience, why would you expect them to be very philanthropic towards the school?
Yes.
Now, I have no knowledge of what she's done in the past in a philanthropic way to the school. I don't know if she's donated. I have no idea.
Well, listen,
If she hasn't done that in the past, why would you expect that in the future?
People of that wealth usually need tax write-offs too, right? So it probably could have worked for her in that way, but who the hell knows?
They got plenty. They don't need them. They already have.
I hear you.
Great. They don't need them. They already have.
George, anything else you'd like to add on the Preston situation?
No, to me, it just showed that a community could come together.
Right.
No matter what your political affiliation or anything else. And definitely come together, band together, and galvanize in this case, and unify in some other ways to get something accomplished. And this is something this should be an example for other things going forward, that you can do this And there was a lot of groups working on this. Some of them independently, some of them collectively.
Yeah.
So this was a very, very big deal.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
just quickly, I'm going to say this. We assess things. We look at Community Board 10, and we look at least I do, and some other people with me. We look at some vulnerable properties. We look at properties that are game changers for a community. That if they change hands and something has developed there, that's going to change the face of a community or a section of the community. And Preston High School was one of our 10 on the list. And I'm not going to go into all 10 because I'm not going to give the developers a head up. But the point is, that was one of the 10. That's why this was important to me, as well as I also have family members that have attended Preston. My daughter's a graduate. It's the only girls' school left in the Bronx that really is of any esteem. That is actually a preparatory school that, to me, could be on the par. The female equivalency of Regis.
Right.
That's what it could be.
Yeah. Gotcha.
These girls are prepared for college when they go in. And I'm telling you, it's an awesome school. It needed to be protected and preserved. That is academic excellence coming out of Schurz Avenue.
Yes.
And it is a great thing for the community. And I'm going to tell you this, and now I'm going to go in a different direction. This is what I wrote to the AG, because I wrote a letter in there. And I said, it is really, this is basically almost like academic redlining. You are now going to pull the carpet out from the people in this community. The community is undergoing change. You have black and brown students now that do not have the chance, the opportunity to have this academic excellence. You're going to let the school close now? That would be a shame on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shame on you.
Yep.
And that's what I would say. And I really believe that, because academics is very important to me. And
yeah, no, absolutely, it should be 100%.
That is the stairway to success. Education is the stairway to success, and you can't take this school away.
No,
and
I agree.
Said this before, this school is on the Mount Rushmore in the Bronx schools. I mean, I put it up there with Fordham Prep and the Bronx High School of Science. I put Preston right among them, and that's it. That's the Mount Rushmore.
What about my Lehman High School, George? I went there. Bobby Bonilla came from Lehman.
Yeah, he did. And actually, his agent got him a good deal. He's still collecting them.
I know, that's amazing.
I mean, that's a great thing.
George,
but, you know,
well,
this public school fund, I mean, only 2/3 of high school seniors graduate within 4 years.
George, you got to put Monroe up there as a public school, as a Bronx institution. Monroe is huge. I hate to say it.
Well, that's Ed Cranepool's alma mater.
Yes.
Hank Greenberg.
Yep. Monroe has quite a history. George, while we got you on the phone, talk about another subject, the upzoning at Bruckner with the superfood town. What's happening with that?
Well, I mean, that's codified already. That went through it past the council. I mean, so that the zoning is in place.
What's going to happen there in the next few years? Talk to me.
Well, what's going to happen? Well, the city of Yes actually helped us there.
Right.
Because now that is no longer a unique property. There are many properties that are zoned like that now, so there'll be no haste to build there. There really is no haste to build it. There's so many other desirable properties.
Oh, I see. Right. So
the field got leveled, and from what I understand, and I could be mistaken, but I was told that the owners sold recently the store, not the property.
Right. To Asians.
Mostly it's going to stay a store, and it's going to stay a store.
I heard they sold it to an Asian group. True or false? Do you know?
Yes, that's what I heard. So
hey, listen, that's all good. Okay, George. Anything else you want to say?
No, it's good to hear you. It's always good to see you.
Yes.
Wayne, and I look forward to seeing you in the park soon. And
absolutely.
You have a great day, and
thank you for calling. And very rare do I talk about a serious matter, George, like something like Preston. I'm usually fun and games, light and fluffy, but I thought this needed a little attention. I think it's a really, really big deal, and I know it is a big deal. And what a great job by all the leaders, and a great job by you as well. And thank you, George Have.
Like I said, I take no credit at all.
I know.
These young women, these students, the staff, the alumni.
Yep.
These people, when I'm telling you, I can't, there's no word, they transcend words. Their awesome work and their dedication and everything else. And just, I can't tell you how smart these people are.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I was in awe talking to these people are brilliant, they're intelligent, and they're graduates of Preston, and that's why we need it. We need more people like this.
I wish we had more people that weren't so negative. I can't tell you how many people said, "Oh, it's a done deal. All the kids have transferred out already. This, that, the other thing."
Listen, these are keyboard warriors that are looking at certain things. And listen, when I look at it this way, I asked somebody that they were detractors, and I said, okay, if Johnson and Johnson did this, would you be okay with it?
Right.
And they said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the problem is what? The problem is Bally.
Yes,
That's
right.
the only problem.
Exactly. Anyway, George, if the casino opens, let's hope we win. Let's hope we win some money. I hear you. If Bally's opens, let's win some money. Let me hit a jackpot. All right?
Yeah, we'll hit the jackpot. You push the button, I'll put the money up.
George, much love. Have a great day. Thank you for calling, George. You're the man, and thank you for everything you do for this community, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Wayne. To you, too.
Much love, my friend. Be well. Bye-bye. Okay, there it is, George Have. So we heard from Lisa Hessian and George Have regarding Preston High School. Answered a few questions I had. Letitia James did help. 25 years, who cares, right? Who cares what happens in 26 years? The deal got done now. You saved the school with a great deal for 25 years, $1 a year lease, $1 a year, and they're giving $1 million for renovations. And George is saying it's not necessarily tied in that Bally's gets the casino. I don't know where I stand on the casino. People say casino bad. I don't know if a casino's bad. I don't know. There's a lot of traffic over there already. You ever see a Friday night over going by the bridge over there by Target Mall, by the Whitestone Bridge? Try a Friday night in the summer. You can't move. Can you imagine a casino there? That is a big problem. Great show today. Got to go. Patty, love you. Thank you so much. I'm going to sign off in a minute myself. We're going to sing another song from 1971. This is from January to November of 1971. Let's see. Cherokee people. Yes, indeed. How can you mend a broken heart? The Bee Gees. Wow, the Bee Gees in 71, huh? We always think of the Bee Gees in 1977 and 76, whatever, with the great Staying Alive. Staying Alive is the name of the movie, right? Not Night Fever, yeah. Oh, I remember this song very well from my childhood. Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. God, my mother played that all the time. I always heard that song as a child. Me and Bobby McGee. We're going to have to save this for next time. We're going to do the fun show next time. We may do a couple of shows a week moving forward. But I just wanted to start slow and get my sea legs. Have a great day. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the Preston talk. Those of you that went to Preston and those that care about the community might find a lot of value in this podcast, and hopefully you learned something, because I had some questions and I did learn a few things, and I'm glad it saved. Way to go, Preston. Chique cabron, maricón ese gringo vato shidru malakasita bendejo con yo tío mano dum kop shudum for taka shen when tsatsis putsik fega punyata. Struns eringo bra afanabla puta cabrompa. No Crisco, Daddy. El guapo popping of pentacles. Kiss me, baby. Dos make little shidurkin. Never forget the smoke and mirror, sleight of hand, 3-card Monty. It's all a shell game. Sandpaper condom, hat tip bricklayer. Look at the shiny object over there, my dear. While 8-shot Gary and Bathhouse Barry, the thin smoking man from Hawaii. He gets no burn, no smoking sign. F's in the real like burnt, F and toast, bada beep, bada boop, bada bing, apachim, capiche. NFL draft tonight. Let's go Raiders. Get somebody good. I don't know who I want. Just make the team good. I'm sick of losing. The Jets have a big interest tonight. The Giants are up there. I think they draft number 2 or 3. Giants are way up there. I think the Jets are number 7 or 8. So go. Oh, Sean Connolly's calling me. No, thank you, Sean. I'm in the middle of a podcast. Thank you for interrupting it. Okay, guys, got to go. Love yous all. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining.